Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A woman who knows she is enough. Today, I want to speak to you about something both profound and transformative, the idea of a woman who knows that she is enough. To understand this, we must first wrestle with the nature of what it means to be enough in a world that often suggests the opposite. The cultural narrative today is relentless in its demands. It tells women they must be everything, all at once, career-driven yet nurturing, independent yet accommodating, youthful yet wise. These standards are contradictory at best and impossible at worst. But here's the truth. The woman who knows she is enough has ceased to measure herself against the endless checklist of societal expectations. In today's world, external validation is a constant presence in our lives, particularly for women. Society imposes narrow definitions of success, beauty, and worth that often feel out of reach. There are countless voices, both explicit and subtle, that tell women they must look a certain way, act a certain way, or achieve specific things to be seen as enough. Yet, the woman who knows she is enough is not concerned with these external judgments. She understands that her value is not dictated by these ever-changing standards, but by her own intrinsic worth. To reject external validation is not to dismiss the importance of feedback or constructive criticism, but rather to stop allowing it to define your self-worth. The world will always have opinions about you, whether it's your appearance, your career choices, or your lifestyle. But if you tie your sense of self to these fluctuating opinions, you will forever be at the mercy of external forces, constantly seeking approval or fearing judgment. This leads to a never-ending cycle of dissatisfaction, where one is never truly content, always chasing the next milestone, the next compliment, the next sign that they are enough. The woman who understands her worth looks beyond the superficial aspects of approval. She recognizes that her essence is not something that can be rated or measured by anyone other than herself. In fact, it is impossible for others to fully grasp her unique life experiences, strengths, and contributions, and thus their opinions, however well-intentioned, cannot be the ultimate gauge of her value. This recognition allows her to break free from the suffocating pressure to conform to standards that do not serve her deeper purpose. When we base our sense of value on external factors, we diminish our own power. We relinquish control over our lives, handing it over to others who may never fully understand us or our needs. To reject this validation is to take back that control. It's a powerful statement of autonomy, a declaration that your worth cannot be measured by anyone else's metrics. It's about standing firm in the belief that you are enough, regardless of how others may perceive you. This rejection is not about arrogance or neglecting the opinions of others entirely. We all benefit from constructive feedback, and there is value in considering how we impact the world and the people around us. But when our sense of worth depends on being liked, admired, or accepted, we are always at risk of losing ourselves in the process. The woman who knows she is enough separates the truth of her identity from the fluctuating judgments of others. She doesn't let fleeting approval or criticism dictate her sense of self, because she knows that validation that is external is often transient and unreliable. When she stops seeking validation from outside, she is free to focus on what truly matters to her. She can pursue goals, values, and passions that align with her true self, not what others expect of her. The power to live authentically emerges when she no longer measures herself by the standards of others, but by the values that resonate deeply within her own soul. By rejecting the need for external validation, she opens herself up to a deeper relationship with herself. She learns to trust her own judgment and intuition, and becomes less susceptible to the inevitable fluctuations in the opinions of others. The journey of self-worth is deeply personal, and the only one capable of fully understanding and nurturing it is the person herself. Taking responsibility for your life is a foundational principle for anyone who seeks to understand their worth. For many women, the external world places numerous pressures to fulfill specific roles, whether as a mother, partner, a professional, or any number of other identities. These expectations can overwhelm and paralyze, especially when the external world doesn't always align with the reality of individual desires and needs. Yet, a woman who knows she is enough embraces responsibility not as a burden, but as an empowering force that gives her the power to shape her own life. Responsibility is not about shouldering everything on your own or becoming weighed down by obligations. It's about owning the choices you make, taking full accountability for your actions, and acknowledging that you have the power to steer your own course. This mindset shifts the focus from a victim mentality where one believes that circumstances are always outside their control into a more empowered perspective. The woman who knows she is enough is someone who recognizes that while she cannot control every external factor, she always has the ability to respond, adapt, and grow. When we choose to take responsibility for our lives, we step into a space of clarity and control. We stop blaming others, whether it's the family we were born into, the circumstances of our upbringing, or the expectations placed upon us. Instead, we realize that while we cannot change the past, we do hold the pen when it comes to writing the chapters of our future. This means accepting both the highs and lows that come with our decisions. No life is free of mistakes, missteps, or moments of regret, but those moments do not define us. They are simply part of the journey of growth. Acknowledging responsibility for them allows us to learn, adapt, and move forward. In a world where it's easy to look outward for someone or something to blame, the act of taking responsibility provides a sense of stability and agency. A woman who knows she is enough does not passively wait for the world to change around her. She engages with her circumstances actively, making choices that reflect her values, goals, and beliefs. She acknowledges her role in both her successes and her setbacks, and in doing so, she opens up the possibility of profound change. Responsibility also means taking ownership of our emotional and mental states. It's easy to let negative emotions or past experiences dictate how we feel or act in the present. It's harder but infinitely more powerful to recognize that while we cannot always control our emotions, we can control how we respond to them. Embracing responsibility over our inner lives means cultivating self-awareness, understanding our triggers, and making conscious choices to act with integrity, regardless of how we may feel in a given moment. Taking responsibility isn't about striving for perfection. It's not about never making mistakes or always having the right answers. Rather, it's about showing up consistently, doing the work, and having the courage to face both the rewards and the consequences of our actions. When a woman takes responsibility for her life, she takes ownership of her growth, her decisions, and the path she chooses to walk. The realization that she is enough comes from knowing that she has the ability to rise to any challenge and to create the life that reflects her values. Even in the face of adversity, life is inherently chaotic. And for many, this reality is a source of frustration and discomfort. There's a tendency to believe that a meaningful life must be free of suffering, uncertainty, or hardship. Yet the woman who knows she is enough understands that these challenges are an integral part of existence, not something to be feared or avoided. She doesn't expect life to be smooth, predictable, or without difficulty. Instead, she recognizes that chaos is a natural part of the human experience, and that it is through confronting and navigating it that true strength and meaning emerge. To accept that life is chaotic means acknowledging that there is no perfect set of conditions or circumstances that will bring complete peace or fulfillment. There will always be elements of uncertainty, whether it's in relationships, career choices, personal growth, or health. It's easy to become disillusioned when things don't go according to plan or when life feels unpredictable. But the woman who knows she is enough does not expect perfection. She is equipped to deal with the unpredictability that life throws at her. She understands that the very nature of life itself is to ebb and flow, to rise and fall. The pain and discomfort that come with chaos are not signs of failure. They are signals of growth, of evolution, of change. Embracing chaos means letting go of the illusion of control over every outcome. In our modern world, where many are conditioned to believe that everything can be planned or controlled, accepting chaos is an act of liberation. It's about giving up the need to control every minute detail and learning to respond, rather than react, to the twists and turns of life. There is immense freedom in knowing that life cannot always be tamed, and that we as individuals have the capacity to adapt and grow through these changes. The woman who knows she is enough sees challenges as opportunities. She doesn't shy away from difficulty. Rather, she faces it with resilience and resolve. In the face of failure, she doesn't see herself as a victim. Instead, she sees a lesson to be learned, a new strategy to develop, and a deeper understanding of herself. Chaos presents the opportunity for self-discovery. It's through these uncomfortable moments that the potential for transformation lies. Life's uncertainties test our mettle, challenge our assumptions, and push us to confront parts of ourselves that we might otherwise ignore. Chaos demands flexibility and adaptability, The woman who knows she is enough understands that she does not need to have all the answers. In fact, part of the wisdom of life is learning how to operate in uncertainty, how to navigate without a perfect map. She learns to trust herself, her instincts, and her capacity to rise to the occasion. When she encounters unexpected situations, rather than being overwhelmed by them, she steps forward with the confidence that she can manage whatever comes her way. Accepting the chaos of life also means embracing imperfection, both in the world around her and in herself. There is no ideal or perfect version of life to aspire to. There is only the present moment and the ability to engage with it. By accepting the inherent messiness of life, the woman who knows she is enough gains the strength to rise above her circumstances and make something meaningful out of them. Life's unpredictability in all its forms becomes an essential part of her journey, helping her grow into a more resilient and authentic version of herself. The internal critic is a force that many people, particularly women, wrestle with on a daily basis. These voices often start in early childhood, sometimes instilled by well-meaning individuals, and evolve over time to become powerful sources of self-doubt and insecurity. The voice might sound like a parent, a teacher, a partner, or even society at large, telling you that you are not good enough, that you need to do more, be more, or change something about yourself to fit in. For many, these voices become so ingrained that they start to feel like an unavoidable part of their identity. But the woman who knows she is enough does not allow these voices to define her. She actively challenges them, recognizing them for what they are, limiting beliefs that have no grounding in truth. The first step to silencing the inner critic is to recognize it for what it is, a conditioned response, not a fundamental truth. It is easy to believe the negative thoughts we have about ourselves because they are often loud, persistent, and familiar. Yet these thoughts are often rooted in fear, insecurity, or past experiences that no longer serve us. The woman who knows she is enough has learned to distinguish between her true self and the distortions created by self-doubt. She understands that these thoughts do not define her worth. They are just temporary patterns of thinking that can be challenged and changed. It's important to note that silencing the inner critic does not mean ignoring areas for growth or dismissing the importance of self-improvement. The inner critic often masquerades as a helpful voice, convincing us that it is pushing us toward betterment. However, the woman who knows she is enough does not mistake harsh self-criticism for growth. She knows that there is a difference between constructive self-reflection and a relentless internal attack. Constructive self-reflection allows us to learn from our mistakes and take actions that improve our lives, while the inner critic is often paralyzing and discouraging. When we listen to the inner critic, we may find ourselves stuck in a cycle of guilt, shame, or perfectionism that prevents us from taking meaningful action. Instead of listening to the inner critic, the woman who knows she is enough cultivates self-compassion. She understands that making mistakes, failing, and being imperfect are all part of the human experience. By treating herself with kindness and understanding, she allows space for growth and healing. Self-compassion is a critical tool in silencing the inner critic, as it shifts the narrative from one of judgment to one of support and encouragement. It is about recognizing that she is doing the best she can in any given moment, and that even when things don't go as planned, she is still enough. The woman who knows she is enough also learns to replace the inner critic with affirmations that reflect her true worth. These affirmations are not empty praise, but grounded in her understanding of herself, her values, and her strengths. Rather than focusing on the negative, she consciously chooses to focus on the positive aspects of who she is. These affirmations can help to rewire her brain, making it easier for her to trust herself and her abilities. Over time, this practice helps diminish the power of the inner critic, replacing it with a more balanced, compassionate internal dialogue. This process of silencing the inner critic is not a one-time event, but a continual practice. The woman who knows she is enough understands that self-doubt may arise from time to time, but she has the tools to challenge it and regain her confidence. By consistently choosing to reject the negative limiting beliefs and replacing them with affirmations of her inherent worth, she begins to reshape her inner narrative. This shift allows her to move forward in life with a sense of empowerment, knowing that she is worthy of success, love, and happiness, just as she is. The journey of personal growth is not a linear path, nor is it a journey that can be completed by simply adhering to external standards or expectations. It is a continuous process of learning, evolving, and adapting. The woman who knows she is enough understands that Personal development is not about reaching a specific point of perfection, but rather about cultivating the capacity to face life's challenges with resilience, adaptability, and a willingness to grow. Growth is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming the best version of oneself through consistent effort and self-awareness. Personal growth requires a mindset shift, one that values progress over perfection. It's about understanding that growth is not a destination, but a lifelong process. In this context, the woman who knows she is enough does not view setbacks or mistakes as failures, but as opportunities for growth. When she encounters difficulties or obstacles, she sees them as moments to learn something new about herself and the world around her. This mindset allows her to approach challenges not with fear or frustration, but with curiosity and a willingness to improve. She understands that there is no such thing as a perfect life, and that striving for perfection can often lead to stagnation. Instead, she focuses on making incremental improvements, celebrating small wins along the way, and recognizing that progress, no matter how slow, is still progress. Growth also means being willing to confront uncomfortable truths about oneself. It's easy to stay in a place of denial or self-deception where we avoid confronting our weaknesses, flaws, or limitations. But the woman who knows she is enough recognizes that true growth begins when she is willing to face the uncomfortable aspects of her character in life. This does not mean self-criticism or harsh judgment. It means taking an honest look at where she is in her journey and being open to the areas where change is needed. By embracing this level of self-awareness, she is empowered to take actions that align with her values and desires rather than staying stuck in old patterns of behavior or thinking. To grow, one must also be open to learning from others. The woman who knows she is enough does not view learning as a sign of weakness or inadequacy, but as a strength. She is open to seeking knowledge, gaining wisdom, and receiving feedback from those who have different experiences or perspectives. This willingness to learn from others not only enhances her personal development, but also expands her ability to empathize with and understand those around her. By embracing the lessons that come from others, she fosters a sense of interconnectedness, understanding that personal growth is not an isolated endeavor, but one that is enriched by the experiences of the people she encounters along the way. Growth also requires the ability to adapt. Life is filled with constant change, and the woman who knows she is enough understands that to thrive in a world that is ever-changing, she must be flexible and open to transformation. Adaptability is a crucial component of growth because it allows her to respond to life's challenges with creativity and resilience. Instead of resisting change or clinging to outdated ways of thinking, she embraces change as an opportunity for renewal. This adaptability is not about abandoning her core values or identity. It's about adjusting her approach to better align with the circumstances and challenges she faces. Growth requires self-compassion. The journey of personal development is not without its struggles, and there will be times when progress feels slow or when setbacks occur. In these moments, the woman who knows she is enough practices patience with herself. She recognizes that growth is not always immediate, and that it's okay to stumble along the way. Self-compassion allows her to move through these moments with grace and understanding rather than becoming overwhelmed with guilt or frustration. By treating herself with kindness and empathy, she is able to keep moving forward, knowing that growth is a process that requires time, effort, and perseverance. The woman who knows she is enough is not just focused on her own development and well-being. She understands that her actions and sense of self can influence and inspire others. Her confidence is not meant to be a solitary endeavor, nor is it about creating a sense of superiority over others. Rather, her self-assurance becomes a beacon of light that shines for those around her. When she stands firm in her worth, she encourages others to do the same. In a world that often tells women to stay small, to be quiet, and to keep their opinions to themselves, the woman who knows she is enough refuses to be silent. Her voice, shaped by experience and self-reflection, carries weight. She understands the power of her words and actions, and she uses them not to dominate or control, but to inspire and uplift. When she speaks, others listen, not because she demands attention, but because her words are grounded in truth and her presence commands respect. She doesn't seek to prove herself to others. Her confidence stems from knowing who she is, regardless of external validation. This sense of self-assurance allows her to take on leadership roles, not out of a desire for power, but because she knows that she has something valuable to offer. Leadership, in this sense, is not about being in charge or having authority over others. Instead, it's about guiding, mentoring, and empowering those around her. A woman who knows she is enough doesn't feel threatened by the success of others. Instead, she encourages them to rise to their fullest potential. She is not in competition with others, but is instead deeply committed to helping others realize their own worth. In doing so, she creates an environment where collaboration, mutual respect, and growth are prioritized over competition or comparison. The quiet confidence that she exudes also creates a space for vulnerability and authenticity. In a society where perfectionism and false facade are celebrated, she is unafraid to show her true self, flaws and all. This vulnerability allows others to see her humanity and connect with her on a deeper level. By embracing her imperfections, she gives others permission to do the same. The woman who knows she is enough is not afraid to be seen for who she truly is, flaws, mistakes, and all, because she understands that her value is not dependent on perfection. This authenticity becomes an invitation for others to step into their own truth, and in doing so, they are empowered to live more fully and authentically. Her example also extends beyond her immediate circle to the larger world. In a culture that often demands women to conform to unrealistic standards, the woman who knows she is enough disrupts this narrative. By embracing her own worth, she challenges societal expectations and opens the door for others to do the same. She understands that her confidence and self-assurance have a ripple effect, and she takes responsibility for being part of a larger movement, one that values women not for what they can achieve or how they look, but for who they truly are. This is a revolution of self-empowerment, and it begins with the simple yet profound understanding that each individual is enough exactly as they are. Through this understanding, she not only changes her own life, but also contributes to creating a world where everyone is free to stand tall in their own worth. Thanks for watching.